Hello, my name is Alexander Galafeev. I with KSM Group in Karelia, Petrozavodsk city. KSM Group is the largest construction company in Karelia. We are represented in many different areas, building residential buildings, industrial facilities, social assets, infrastructural objects, motor roads, bridges and tunnels. And we also act as real estate developers for the property that we build. 90% is built residential buildings, concrete with consisting of prefab plates. In February 2018, KSM management decided to reorganize its design department. Why? Low quality of design documentation, wrong volumes and scopes of work, the fact that designers are not economically invested, are not motivated to ensure economic efficiency, and large number of mistakes in design documentation. That is why we decided to embrace BIM. We chose Revit and Civil 3D as our design tools. We selected people who could work with BIM, but Petrozavodsk is not a major Russian city, so the competence was limited, and that is why all our people had a training at PSS Greatak. And a pilot project was launched with PSS Greatak's support. When Greatak people came to us and asked, "What do you know about BIM?" Our manager said, "Well, imagine a forest which is very dark and there is no civilization in it, and that is us." And as a pilot project, we selected this building. It's a residential building, total area 16,000 meters. All the design was done in 3 months, and all as-built documentation was submitted. 14 people worked on this project. Over the past year, we did the pilot project that I mentioned, the so-called urban block, 2 other residential buildings, and 2 planning designs of city districts that we planned. Then our design department branched out to form a separate legal entity, and I am the head of this company called Algorithm. Right now, there are 24 people working in our company, and we plan to expand. We currently work with 12 assets, from concrete works to infrastructure assets. Among other projects, a residential building 25 stories high. You can see the picture here. It's a cast-in-place type of building, and we also worked with first with a designer who were designing this project for 18 months, but they failed, and we had to cancel a contract with them and do everything ourselves. Then this building, consisting of prefab concrete blocks, this is the first time we used this technology. There was a remote data gathering established in this project. Another ambitious project for us that we signed up this year, it's a school for 1,300 children. Schools weren't built in Petrozavodsk for 20 years, so that's a very important project for all of us in Petrozavodsk. It's again concrete and rebar structure, and prefabricated concrete panels in 3 layers. All is done in BIM. All design work is done in BIM, and all architecture and layout is done from scratch. So we are not basing on any standard documentation. Design is 4 months plus 2 months. 4 months for statement of work, then 2 months for as-built documentation. So what we managed to achieve in the past year in BIM. This slide shows the life cycle of or workflow of using BIM. It includes all the stages, from initial design to as-built documentation. Over the past year, we really appreciated the applicability of BIM. Information modeling, as you know, is used for different stages, and each stage has its own goals. And this slide shows our goals for our information projects. This slide shows information exchange process. First, we set out the requirements to the model from all the disciplines, above all, architecture. This is probably a bit different from what we are used to, but this way we make sure that we're all on the same page. And then we elaborate a more detailed statement of work. So it all starts with a design draft. We do it ourselves with some outsourcing help if it is required. Then we coordinate it with our clients. If they green-light it, we move on. If they don't agree with it, we add some more. Then another stage. This is where we add some additional details like heating, ventilation, utilities, and at this stage results in positive decision of state expert review service. Then as-built documentation, but still we continue to do some design. Some specificities in design process. We used cut opening for AgaCAD solution for doors and windows, and also for embedded parts. Twice a day we upload new data to Navisworks, and once a week we assemble a general model. Then verification, collision reports are generated, and this model is designated for project manager and the chief engineer of the project, chief project engineer. What are the advantages? It's very user-friendly. It's very hard to miss something. You really have to try to ignore something. Before, many mistakes occurred because there was lack of coordination between different functional departments. But here, people have one language to talk to each other without having to explain something to each other very often, and without now having to explain something to the client. We all speak the same language. We're all on the same page. If a state expert review service provides any feedback, any comments, or a client provides any comments, we can easily update our model. Design work, and drawing work on the drawings have also sped up. It's now easier to use with the drawings, to work with the drawings, and it's now easier to prepare a budget and include all the works required for subcontracting.
Disadvantages. There are many of them, actually. First is about software limitations, and let's look at details. First of all, Revit is not taking account into rooms if there are passages, does not include passages, while in the stock variant it is available. Electric connections is something that is also not reflected in Revit. It's being designed only for the market in North America in a completely different format. For designing in Russia, it's not available, and this is obviously a disadvantage. The next disadvantage is reinforced concrete panels, reflection. A lot of routine work is needed. You need to copy the sheets, and you always need to design the model of scratch. We cannot do it otherwise because of the requirements of the customer. Because the customers want to get documentation for the serial products. The AgaCAD software product doesn't have a Russian version. Of course, it's our problem. Not all employees can speak English, and that is why there were some issues related to this gap. Most interestingly, the calculation of quantities or material quantities for walls is not always exact and sometimes completely inaccurate. And this is what we get from the claim from our customer. What are possible solutions? Dynamo, of course, one of the solutions for calculating. We developed a script for calculating quantities and passages, getting squares and areas of the objects and rooms. We also bought Kvartirografia software developed by PSS Grytek, and that helped us work closely with our developers. And we also developed a dedicated solution for automation, which is something that helps us to overcome routine. We also created a script for copying sheets with sections and locations in relation to each other. There are dedicated templates used, and the objects, the instances we get, can involve dimensions, and this script helped us reduce time of developing panels and sheets up to 40%. Electric connections. There is a dedicated script for understanding and for reflecting electrical connections with some exact locations, and there is also a dedicated script for different components, switches, pipes, tubes, etc. The last year was quite positive. We managed to draw up a team that is able to work in a new software product with high quality. The success factor is about our team. Our team was built from scratch, and we were not bound by some contractual obligations, and there were a number of also factors that prevented our employees and partners from returning to AutoCAD. Currently, many of our employees prefer Revit rather than AutoCAD. At the moment, we have a wide order portfolio. We work on geology and provide other services. And we also want to involve new specialists for topology and other interventions. For the current year, 2019, we will continue improving designing process using BIM. This is the first. The second point is we plan to use the digital plan, apply Navisworks, and our project managers are already using different schedules developed by MS Project, and we will connect to their projects ourselves. We will add schedules, timelines, cost sheets, financials. All these will be added to the graphs and to the timelines. The key milestone is implementing BIM at construction site. We are a construction company, and we want to integrate it at a different life cycle stage. We want to use BIM models at construction sites. With BIM 360, we will try to do that, but as we move forward, we will probably send digital models, BIM models to construction sites. There are a number of further steps in the industry KSM plant, which we own. We want to use plotters there and automatic machines that can produce automatic drawings in serial production. Logistics is an important part that need to involve different stakeholders, and we are trying to make this process as transparent as possible and make those mechanisms as instrumental as possible. Our management company, KSM, is another stakeholder using information models for capital renovation and repairs. And of course, if we integrate this new BIM approach, their costs will be driven down. There is another step for the current year, is to restructure our design division, which is in charge of road construction. We construct and renovate and design roads as well as bridges and junctions. These are our plans, these are our roadmaps. You can always talk with us, and we are ready, we are open, we are transparent. Thank you for your attention.